The weather models just flip the script, and what they're showing now changes everything we thought we knew about the next 2 weeks. Turbulent times are ahead. That's the perfect way to describe it. Up and down temperatures. Not purely warm, not purely cold anymore either. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. This turbulence is actually raising the chance for intense winter storms, the kind that catch forecasters off guard, the kind that intensify at the last minute and bury cities in snow. The revelation that explains everything is at the 30-second mark. When weather patterns are stagnant and unchanging, we struggle to get stronger storm systems. Nothing moves, nothing develops, everything just sits there. But when there's lots of ups and downs, everything changes. We get instability, we get formation of storm systems, we get stronger storms down the road. The chaos creates the conditions for explosive development, and right now, both the European and GFS models are screaming this message. Let's start with the European model this afternoon. Snowfall is still happening from that moderate snow system along the mid-Atlantic and northeast. And here's where it gets interesting. The models trended stronger and a little west with this system, very last minute. Areas in Pennsylvania picked up 6 or 8 inches of snowfall to the west of Philadelphia. 6 to 8 inches. That wasn't in the forecast yesterday. This is a trend, an important trend that you need to understand. The breakthrough discovery happens at minute 3. Pay attention. So far this winter, storms have been intensifying last minute. Typically, within the last 24 hours leading up to a snow system, amounts start looking higher and higher. Sometimes there's a southern or northern shift, but the bigger picture is the increase in amounts. This trend matters for winter storms moving forward. When a system is in the forecast, expect the possibility of last-minute strengthening. Expect amounts to potentially jump. This has happened repeatedly this winter. It's not forecaster error, it's the pattern, the volatile pattern creating conditions for rapid intensification. Remember this, it's going to happen again. Tomorrow afternoon, very cold time frame continues. Very cold. Southeastern Virginia getting into the upper teens tonight, that's unusual to say the least. Farther inland and farther north, single digits are coming. Very cold for a lot of people over the next night and day. Monday the 15th. Storm system up in the northwest, bringing mountainous snowfall and lower elevation rainfall. Great Lakes into the northeast, seeing plenty of lake-effect snow as really cold temperatures continue. The game-changing information is at minute 5. Don't skip ahead. Tuesday brings a clipper system moving over. This is standard for when we get relaxation of the trough in the east. Storm tracks move along the jet stream up to the north. All standard. In our previous pattern, these would be sliding underneath. But the jet stream relaxes, and that changes the game. Wednesday shows less activity in the east. Although it is cooler on Wednesday than it was on Tuesday. A more major storm system starts taking place out west. For the mountainous west, very interesting development. Thursday the 18th is when things explode. A more significant load develops almost immediately after we get into this back and forth pattern. Look at this pressure reading. 981 millibars. Low pressure center between Minnesota and Canada. That is an extreme low pressure center for this time of year. Really intense system for the north central states. Plenty of snowfall happening for Canada, northern plains, and Midwest. But there's more. Watching the threat for thunderstorm and severe weather activity across perhaps the deep south and maybe even the Midwest. Very intense Arctic air moving into warm, humid air. That causes instability. Wintertime severe weather events do occur. We're watching for that chance. As this progresses towards the eastern states, it brings a very intense Arctic air mass with it for the 18th and 19th. The shocking revelation happens at minute 7. Back and forth. We saw a milder push. Now Arctic air moves right back in. With that primary low up to the north, unfortunately, it's going to lead to minimal snow chances in the east. Even though we have Arctic air moving in, most of that precipitation is out ahead of it. Not really going to see much snowfall unless you're in very high elevation locations. Even then, might just be a quick blast. That colder air lasts for a couple days. Another Canadian snowfall event moves through. Colder air makes a comeback after the 20th. Then we're pretty flat with the jet stream near Christmas. Some colder air up to the north, a little milder down to the south. This is transient flow, very flat from west to east with the jet stream. After Christmas, a clipper system starts moving through the Great Lakes into the northeast. This particular model right now points out the northeast and mid-Atlantic as a spot to watch. Maybe a further south clipper system moving through. Definitely something to pay attention to, but it's very early. Take it with a grain of salt. The unprecedented information is at minute 9. Then we start getting upward motion with the storm track. Haven't been able to say this since late November. Systems moving from the southwest, northward through the Midwest. Some snowfall in the Midwest and Great Lakes. Not a whole lot, though. The GFS model shows that snowstorm coming to an end. Colder air, warmer air, colder air. Maybe a little snowfall on the back end, but it's quick. Brief warm-up, brief cooldown. This model shows an interesting look along the east around the 20th. Lower pressure nearby the east coast. Perhaps some inland snowfall as colder air is moving in. A time frame to watch. Doesn't look like a massive threat yet, but the ingredients are there. Storm system and Arctic air. Anytime you have both of those puzzle pieces, it's worth noting. We get colder air around the 22nd, warm up for the 23rd and 24th, but we get a Christmas 25th cooldown that lasts to the 26th. The mind-blowing discovery is at minute 11. Then, after Christmas, around the 29th, we get a massive Arctic air mass moving in. Very far out, take it with a grain of salt, but we're seeing a really intense blast of Arctic air. More similar to what we've seen recently, and a low offshore bringing heavy snowfall to the mid-Atlantic and northeast. These specific details are subject to change, expected to change. But it's good to see this model showing everything in current conditions and upcoming conditions still provides a perspective where colder air is going to make a return after Christmas. Snowfall chances with it. This aligns with long-range teleconnections, the MJO, and what we're seeing in the Arctic, all pointing towards this warmer pattern from the 20th through Christmas time. Not super warm, but warmer. Shorter lived in nature. That ends, and we're left with colder air still in the east. Total precipitation on the European model is very elevated out west, acceptable in the east but not super elevated. Looking at anomalies, slightly below normal for most of the east, pretty far below normal for the deep south, pretty far above normal out west. The critical breakthrough happens at minute 13. Total snowfall on the European model tells a story. With the relaxation of the jet stream, most storms are moving much further to the north. Snowfall chances move to the north with them. Looking at those mountain ranges out west, we see a whole lot of snowfall as we see elevated amounts of precipitation. GFS model's snowfall is equally impressive for the mountainous west. There's more southern action happening at times, especially later in the model run where we get this eastern corridor looking interesting. But this is all very far out. Good sign, but not anything you should take away specifics from. Temperature anomalies on the European model show this intense, historic for some areas, Arctic air mass taking place tonight, lasting through tomorrow. Still very cold. Even Tuesday is quite cold along the east. Milder push for the 18th and 19th before another Arctic air mass comes in. Then brief warm-up. Then brief Arctic air mass again. Then warm-up. Some Arctic air in the north trying to push down the east coast just after Christmas. Then it's warmer. The game-changing update is at minute 15. GFS model agrees. Colder air, warmer air, colder air, warmer air, colder air. You get the point. The biggest takeaway is this. These back and forths are going to increase the chance of storm systems in general. Very interesting storm systems, more intense ones at that. That's what we're looking for in the upcoming pattern. Let me break down why this matters. In meteorology, we talk about baroclinic zones. These are areas where warm and cold air masses meet. The sharper the contrast, the more energy available for storm development. In a stagnant pattern, these zones are weak. Temperature gradients are subtle, not much energy to tap into. But in a volatile pattern, with rapid swings, these zones sharpen dramatically. Huge temperature contrasts. Massive energy potential. That's when storms can bomb out. Rapid intensification, pressures dropping 20 to 30 millibars in 24 hours, heavy snow rates, blizzard conditions, the works. The shocking discovery happens at minute 17. That 981 millibar low on the 18th, that's bombing cyclone territory. When a low-pressure system drops that deep that fast, it creates dangerous conditions. Not just snow, powerful winds, blowing and drifting snow. Whiteout conditions. For the northern plains and upper Midwest, Thursday the 18th could be a serious travel day. Possibly dangerous. If you have travel plans through that region, monitor forecasts closely. Consider alternative dates if possible. The severe weather threat for the south is real too. When Arctic air crashes into Gulf moisture in a volatile pattern, severe weather can develop. Damaging winds, large hail, even tornadoes are possible in December. It doesn't happen often, but it happens, and the setup on the 18th has the ingredients. Deep South needs to stay weather aware that day, have multiple ways to receive warnings. After that system, Arctic air floods east for the 18th and 19th, very cold. But with the low tracking north, snow chances are limited for major cities. Most precipitation falls ahead of the cold. High elevations might see a burst. Lower elevations probably miss out. The unprecedented revelation is at minute 19. The pattern then continues this back and forth through Christmas week. Brief warm periods, brief cold shots, nothing sustained, just constant change, constant volatility. This is actually favorable for winter weather. Each swing brings new opportunities. Each temperature change creates new energy. The atmosphere stays active. Storm systems keep forming. Around the 20th, that GFS hint of a system near the coast is intriguing. Not a blockbuster, not a massive threat, but ingredients are there, worth watching. Could develop into something, could fizzle. Too early to know. Christmas 23rd and 24th look milder. Nice break from the cold. Then 25th brings a cool down. 26th stays cool. Setting the stage for what might come after, the 29th is the window everyone should be watching. Massive Arctic air mass potentially arriving, low offshore potentially forming, heavy snow potential for mid-Atlantic and northeast. It's 10 days out. Details will change, but the pattern supports it. The teleconnections point to it, and if that last-minute intensification trend continues, this could overperform forecasts. The critical information happens at minute 21. Here's what you need to understand about forecasting in volatile patterns. Uncertainty is higher. Models struggle more. Small changes in timing or track make huge differences in impacts. But that uncertainty cuts both ways. A system forecast for 3 inches could deliver 6. A misforecast for your area could shift and bring heavy snow. You have to stay flexible. Monitor updates frequently. For the post-Christmas period into early January, this pattern stays active. Multiple systems are possible. Not just one threat, multiple chances for winter weather. The Northeast and Mid-Atlantic stay in play for several potential events. Ocean temperatures running below normal helps. Each Arctic blast cools the ocean more. By late December, significantly below average. This enhances snow potential for coastal areas. What would be rain in a normal year could be snow this year. The Canadian snowpack being massive helps too. Arctic air traveling over deep snow maintains intensity better. Stays colder longer. What would moderate to just cold becomes extreme cold. Better for snow production. The final game changer is at minute 23. Let me give you the practical timeline. Today through Monday, very cold continues. Single digits and teens widespread. Current snow system winding down, but produced surprise 6 to 8 inch amounts in Pennsylvania. That last-minute intensification trend in action. Tuesday, Clipper system northern track. Wednesday, major storm developing out west. Thursday the 18th, monster low forms. 981 millibars. Heavy snow northern tier. Severe weather possible south. Major travel impacts likely. Friday 19th, Arctic blast east. Very cold but limited snow for major cities. Weekend of 21st and 22nd, quick cold shot. 23rd and 24th, brief mild spell. Christmas 25th, cooling begins. 26th, stays cool. 29th into early January, watch closely. Major Arctic air potentially arriving. Offshore low potentially developing. This is the highest impact window for mid-Atlantic and northeast snow. Beyond that, into January, pattern stays active. Multiple opportunities, multiple systems. The volatile pattern continues, and with it, chances for significant winter weather. The mind-blowing discovery is at minute 25. What's coming in the next video will change your entire outlook on this winter. We're going deep on pattern evolution, how the MJO phases support cold and snow, why the blocking patterns matter, what the stratospheric polar vortex is doing. We're breaking down the 29th potential in detail. Storm track scenarios, snowfall maps for different solutions, city-by-city impacts if this verifies, what to watch for in model runs. We're also covering the extended January pattern, because this isn't about one storm. It's about a pattern shift that could last weeks. Multiple significant systems, repeated shots of Arctic air, classic winter weather pattern. The setup for major nor'easters is improving. All the ingredients coming together. And if the volatility continues with that last-minute intensification trend, we could see some impressive snowfall totals. This isn't about hype. This is about recognizing patterns, understanding signals, seeing how pieces fit together. The chaos building now sets the stage for what comes later. For snow enthusiasts, this is exciting. The stagnant patterns are ending. The action is beginning. Multiple chances ahead. Uncertainty means opportunity. And opportunity means snow. For everyone else, stay informed, monitor forecasts, make smart decisions about travel, have backup plans for the holidays. This pattern brings change. Change brings impacts. Be prepared. Subscribe now so you don't miss the deep dive on the post-Christmas setup, because what happens after the 25th could be the most significant winter weather of the season. The models are hinting at it, the patterns support it, and the ingredients are aligning. We'll see you in the next forecast with everything you need to know about the monster winter storms potentially brewing and the insane pattern that could make January absolutely unforgettable.